Hey everybody, welcome back to We Are the Batman. I'm Mike.
And this is Matthew.
And happy birthday to the first issue of Batman. I'm sure most of you are scratching your head thinking these guys are idiots, and you are probably typing away saying Batman first appeared in Detective Comics in 1970. Yes, we know. We are celebrating Batman issue number 1, not the first appearance of Batman in Detective Comics. We are celebrating the first issue of Batman's own dedicated comic book series, which appeared, I believe, a month after Robin debuted in Detective Comics as his sidekick. Help me out here, Dick Grayson expert.
Yes. So the little quick research I did is Batman comes out in 1939. He becomes so popular. He gets his own title in 1940. And within that time frame, Robin is introduced. So it's very close. It's basically like, here's Robin. Screw it. Give him his own comic.
Yeah.
So
at that point, when they introduced Robin, they had the kids, they had the teens, and they were like, screw it, give him his own book. And the rest is history. We will get to all of that in the sec. First and foremost, please, guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe. By all means. We're trying to get to 500 by the end of the year. We are almost halfway there. And we're not even close to halfway through the year yet. Although we are closer to the end of April than I'd like to be.
Yes.
If I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Hard to believe we've already gotten this far into this year. Also, please make sure you follow us on all social media at WTB Pod. First and foremost, but then we also need to. I keep saying first and foremost, but now this is the third thing.
Yeah.
Third
and thirdly.
Matt, what have you been watching lately? What have you been up to lately?
I started Residence, which you kind of chit-chatted before. Enjoying that. Finished Resident Alien. Wow, did they leave that for a 4th season? So I'll be
the Resident Alien, and the Resident. What do you do?
It's a lot of resi. And then let's see, what was the other thing? Oh man, I actually started watching Superman randomly the other day.
So, what do you mean? The movie?
The movie.
Okay.
I think
what do you mean?
Yeah, it was on Easter, and I was like, I just want to listen to the music, and then played the music, and then we just started watching it, and then nobody said anything.
Nobody stopped it.
And we're just sitting there, and I'm just like, I'm not going to stop the movie until somebody said something. And then probably 10 minutes in, Rain was in town, my second daughter, second oldest. And she's like, I thought we were just watching the intro. And I'm like, the remote's been on your leg for the past 5 minutes.
I know.
It's your, and she's like, oh, yeah, let's watch something different. And she changed it, but it was just so funny that we are all just like, we're here, we're watching this thing.
That happened a couple of years ago. It was after the Batman first hit Max. We had a bunch of my family over for just no reason, I don't think. And I just put it on to have something. Everyone took turns putting something on in the background.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's something that'll just run for a while that I can just turn on? And I just put on the Batman. Well, nobody else in my family had seen it, so everyone started just slowly sitting down and watching it, and I was like, all right, just so you guys know, this is a 3-hour movie. Just, and everyone was like, it's fine. I was like, okay, all right. Well, it gets to the part where he just starts with I forget, one of the big action sequences happens at the end, and it's late at night. It's after 10 at this point at night. And my cousin starts going this movie is actually kind of long. We're getting tired. And my aunt goes, oh, well, I'm sure it's almost over by now. And I hit the button on the thing and it said, no, there's still 45 minutes left in the movie. And they were like, good night. And they just stood up. And I was like, I warned you. I told you it was a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
I offered to turn on something else. You all said you wanted to watch it. So it is what it is. That being said, guys, for warning, the Batman is 3 hours.
Yeah, when we were out of town for my uncle's funeral, the place we Airbnb'd had a wall projector, the television was a full wall, and it had the elevated seating and a bunch. So I was like, we started talking about RRR, which I know you haven't watched yet. You need to.
It's on the list.
I know.
At this point, I just haven't watched it for the bit of not watching it.
But I laughed because I was like, I'm going to show it to my uncles, and my mom, and we just started watching it, and then realizing Ryan had never seen the full movie, and
Hmm.
And like we get like halfway through and everybody's in it. Like this one scene happens and like half of my family like, no, don't do that. And I'm just like, oh, okay, we are. Cause I was like, it's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
But so there's that point where I'm like, is everybody in it? And then this scene happened and and I was like, okay, everybody's still here. And yeah, we started at 8 o'clock. We ran that thing till 11. And everybody was like, that movie was great. I'm like, I really thought they'd be gone halfway through. And they loved it. So
Yeah. They were invested in the Batman. It was just very they made the cardinal mistake of asking how much more time was left in the movie, and then it's like when you go drinking and then somebody says I gotta go to the bathroom and they break the seal. Now suddenly they're peeing every 10 minutes. Somebody asked for a time check and the majesty was broken.
I always had to do it with my kids because they'll be watching some dumb thing on YouTube, and I'm like, pause it. Let me see how much longer. Like pause it. Like here's 45 more minutes of somebody play with Play-Doh or whatever weird thing. I'm like, no, we're done. Turn that off. You're going to bed.
Yeah. My mom and I. So like we've been watching Abbott Elementary. Just had the season finale. Hilarious. If you haven't watched that show, it's incredible. Now's a good time. They got 4 seasons up already. Okay. And then in the meantime, I never watched The Good Place. So my mom, in intermittently, as I've been getting her caught up on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because she's never seen it. Yeah. She's been showing me The Good Place. I'm assuming you've seen.
I've seen enough to know, and my wife watched the whole thing. So I know.
Oh, so okay, cool. And if you haven't seen it at this point, you have no excuses like I do. So last night, the reveal that they're actually in the bad place happened.
Okay.
I screamed so loud. Are you kidding me? I don't know how I dodged that spoiler my entire life.
It's The Good Place is one of those shows that I've heard tons of people say it's really good, but no one's talked about what it is.
It is. Okay, I will give you the elevator pitch right now. Do you want me to? I'm going to pitch it to you the way as well as I pitched Exploding Kittens, because I got you to watch Exploding Kittens,
which was hilarious. I think I watched the entire first season of The Good Place, and then I think I tried a couple more episodes and I was out. Like not in a bad way.
I literally finished the first season last night, so I can only speak on the first season. But again, the premise is just people have died, and they go either to the good place or the bad place.
Mm-hmm.
And their scores are based on the things they did in real life, and you get and only like the best of the best of the best of the best go to the good place. Like at one point he was like, Gandhi didn't get in here. But and you get like 1 million points just for being a Cleveland Browns fan. I'm not kidding. That is canon to the show, which made my mom very happy. And they're in just this perfect little neighborhood where it's just everything is perfect for you because it's good. It's everything good and everything you want. But one of the people is there by mistake.
Yeah.
And it just starts throwing a wrench in how everything works. And then it comes to find out, no, they're all actually in the bad place for being just the most insufferable.
Yeah.
One of them is just straight up just a DJ from Florida, which is bad enough.
Yeah.
Who incidentally ends up becoming he goes on to play the bad guy in The Acolyte.
Yeah.
Which, say what you will about that show, he was one of the shining parts of The Acolyte, and he's one of the best parts of The Good Place.
Well, that's why, like, when they said he was playing this character, and I was like, this guy?
Well, I watched The Acolyte first, and then so I'm watching The Good Place, and I was like, where do I know this goof? Because he's such a goofball.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where do I know this guy from? And then I looked it up, and I was like, no, it's not. It's not the same guy. It's the exact same guy. It's wild. So yeah, watching that. Watched the first 3 episodes of Andor season 2 today. Finally after work, loved it. It's so good. But yeah, man, mostly just been reading a lot of comics and staying up. Before we get into the main topic, been staying up on some of this DC news. Mostly just in McFarlane, because McFarlane Toys has just been like, hey guys,
here's 80 new figures. Yeah. Some you wanted, some you didn't. And hey, look, the suit looks cool. Stop crying.
Yeah. Sorry. Hey, sorry, guys. We've gotten so many comments on our YouTube videos in the last like week from that a sneak peek about how they hate the suit. And hey, thank you so much for the engagement. We really love how much you help our YouTube numbers. It's truly a blast. But really, what's going on is McFarlane Toys is saying, hey guys, the world's a rough place right now. Spend some money, have some retail therapy. It'll make you feel better.
Here's some joy right in there.
Yeah. It's and what I love too is all the Batman the Animated Series figures. Each one comes with a different piece that all, if you collect them all, you build Bruce Wayne in his brown suit with a briefcase that's got the bat suit inside.
Yeah.
God, I love you, McFarlane. You just, I don't have that much money to spend right now.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever completed a Build-A-Figure.
Oh no, never once in my life. I don't have it in me.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't have.
I'm still. I think I said it before. I'm saying it. I'm still peeved. I don't have my Kilmer Batman figure.
I know
you one they have.
Your Panther suit.
I want the Panther suit, not the Sonar all in black. It looks cool all in black.
I've got the Sonar suit, but it's like the bluish and silver detail one.
Yeah.
And then they've got a version of it that's all black. And then they've got another version of it that's like the kids version, like the playable version that does not look good, but it's playable version. So
yeah, I'm just kind of like
I know
that's one of my favorite suits too. And I'm like, come on.
It's a good, I know.
So who knows? Maybe it'll be a con exclusive. Who knows? Maybe
every once in a while I see that DC Universe Constantine figure, and I have to. The fact that I have not yet dropped the $25 on that is honestly says a lot about my integrity as a person. That I haven't actually spent. When you look at just the wall of, granted, half this stuff you got me, but
well, look at this.
I know. Look at something. Matt got himself something.
You know what? This is actually $16 on sale on Amazon.
That's nice.
So check Amazon every so often. Though you may run across a random sale.
I'm trying to be frugal right now. At least I was up until we need to get to this. We need to get into the show. This is neither here nor there. So so McFarlane's dropping some cool stuff today. Though we want to talk about, we want to celebrate, Batman. It really not. Let me collect my thoughts here. It's one thing to celebrate Batman's first appearance in Detective Comics, because yes, obviously that's when Batman first appeared. That is the birth of the character. That goes without saying. But there's something to be said about celebrating when a character gets the first issue of its own standalone comic, and especially when we are on the cusp of a new number one coming in September.
Yeah,
with incredible art by Jorge Jimenez. I can't stop drooling over it. We're in the middle of the follow up to Hush right now in the current run of Batman. And so, we Matt and I both went back and reread this iconic first issue, and we want to take some time to just look at how far we've come from that, and hopefully you guys down in the comments will let us know, like, what if you remember. If you don't, that's great. The first issue of Batman you remember reading, some of your favorite earlier stories. But yeah, Matt, I'll turn it over to you first, man. Like, just going back and rereading this first issue of Batman as my dogs bark like crazy upstairs. Tell us how you felt about it.
It's actually interesting. I had this moment where I don't know that I've ever actually read this book. Like, I've read a lot of older Batman stuff, but I don't know that I've seen it and I'm aware of it, but I don't think I've ever actually gone back and read some of this older stuff. I've read a lot of like the stuff from the 70s. I'm old enough that, some of that stuff I was buying as a kid. But no, it was interesting because I think there's a lot of times, like when you read older Marvel, because that's more the 60s, that's post, what is that called? The code, the Comics Code Authority.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
So what happens is everything gets dumbed down. So when you read like the original Fantastic Four stuff or some of these, like the early X-Men, it is so... There is a reason why they said comics were for kids, because those comics are for children.
Yes.
And reading this is pre all that. And like, these stories are interesting. Like, dude, Robin kicked the dude off a skyscraper. And I think Batman saved him, but still.
Yeah.
Like, there was no like, hey, hey, I wonder what I'm doing. He's like, what? Boot, and just kicks him up. And I was like, oh, so yeah, they killed a couple guys, definitely beat the crap out of a couple guys. Joker is not cool. He is not funny. He's
No,
kind of nightmarish.
he is. I mean, well, I mean, this is when we think about, like, we've all seen that that image that's almost been memed to death, that old black and white image of the actor with the huge grin that the Joker was kind of based off of. Yeah, I mean, his grin, this is what, you know, when you look at things like The Long Halloween and that weird design of the Joker, that was kind of a exaggerated version of this. When you look at like the old school Batman and Robin New Adventures of Batman and Robin cartoons from the 60s or whatever, not that's what is that huge, just ridiculous grin. But in this book, it's almost terrifying.
Oh yeah,
I say almost. It's terrifying. It's just straight up terrifying.
It's not cool. It's not cool. Well, and I think that's the thing, is like it is interesting to think about, like, yeah, this is why when you get kids that were pre the authority code or went back to some of the stuff, like dude, even Dick Grayson as his own self, out of costume, is beating the crap out of some of these gangsters. Like, he doesn't give a crap. He's like, oh no, you got me first. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the funniest thing for me when I read this, it's the same thing that happened when I watched those old Batman serials from like the 40s and 50s, where like this is pre-martial arts coming to America.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's nothing but wrestling and boxing. No one's doing really any kind of like martial arts kicks. So it's kind of funny to look at that and go like, yeah, that's what everything was back then. Like there was no that thing.
You see that evolution in the fighting in the MCU when we watch the Captain America movies. In Captain America, the First Avenger, it's all brawlers and punches and but then you get to the Winter Soldier and he's fighting, he's fighting with capoeira and Krav Maga and kicks and throws and flips. It's fighting evolved. You're absolutely right. It's also it's a testament to of back in the day, you didn't just need action to convey drama in these books. They conveyed it with tension in the storytelling. Because a lot of these stories was the first time we were treading on new ground here. Nowadays, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, but this was all new back then. So it was, no one had seen these kinds of stories before. They didn't know what to expect. The Joker was a new character. The Penguin was didn't exist. We didn't know who the Penguin was yet. The Penguin hadn't made his first appearance yet. So
I really like, I think the biggest thing that surprised me was, one, like I said, it's pretty intense, but two, like, Robin's no joke in this thing. Even though I don't know if he looks like he's 11, but like he's definitely a kid, but like he's doing it right alongside Batman. And he gets hurt, but he also, like, he dishes it out pretty good, even, like I said, out of costume. So it's interesting to see that.
Well, it's especially because this is still very.
I'm flipping through it. That's why I keep looking.
I have it here too as well. It's very much like this. This is of the age of where it's like, as long as somebody was bad, it didn't. You remember, Batman kills Joker in that first appearance. He hangs him with a helicopter, like Batman carried a gun. This is still very much of the age of like, oh, you're a bad person, well, you deserve to die. Like just that was just the way it was. So having a child acrobat crime fighter absolutely lay into someone like the Joker is just like, yes, no, we need to show the bad person getting the absolute beat out of them. We still see that today. I mean, that's a theme we still see today. South Park does that. The reason people say all the time, they wonder why they're able to get away with Cartman doing such terrible things on South Park. It's like, well, because Cartman's a terrible person.
Yeah.
At no point is it ever as Cartman ever portrayed as being in the right for doing the things he's doing.
Yeah.
Same with why the Penguin series ends with him doing such terrible things. It's like, hey guys, just to remember, this is a bad guy, so we need to not feel bad when Batman beats the crap out of him in the next movie that I'm assuming we're still getting. Anyway,
look, at this point, I will literally be surprised if that movie comes out. I'm real like I
anyway.
We'll get so here's one thing I was thinking about. This is where what I would love to see, especially now that it's public domain, I would love like a modern artist to redraw this book.
Oh yeah.
Just have fun. Let's just see it. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's public domain, so anybody could do it. And I'm like, that would be interesting to see, like somebody like Dan Mora, or I don't know about Jim Lee, but just have like somebody go in, get a different artist for each section, because I like 4 or 5 different stories.
Imagine like variant re-releases, like each of you do a variant of this book, not the cover, the book. Redraw this book in your style. Don't change anything. Just redraw it in your style. The money they would make.
Yeah, you're welcome, Warner Brothers.
You're welcome, Warner Brothers. Hey, you want to get yourselves out of debt? Solved it.
Well, because I think that's the thing. It's like, look, I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed the story. The art isn't bad, but it's
it's 1940.
And the thing of it is like
comic book art.
I think this is one of those things where like I can't imagine you to hand somebody this and they'd be like, yeah, let me read this. They probably just go, So that's what I would be interested in. It's like, hey, have some, like, do that. Just have fun.
Actually sit down and read. Like, actually sit down and read this. Don't just skim through it like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. No, read it. Like, actually read it, and like live in the world where it's like, this is the first time this kind of story has ever been told. This is like this is the first Batman standalone Batman story. Something else I love about this is when you think about, like, this is the time of where, going to the movie theater is a family event, and you get your news, which is usually dramatic and depressing because it's the real world and World War II sucks and everything. and then you get your your Batman cereal, which again, DVD right there, your Batman and Robin cereals that are hanging out up there. I haven't watched those yet, actually. But you get some of those to break up the tension that was of the depressing news and all that. And then usually you get an advertisement for, Sanders spark plugs or something like that. And then you get to the movie. What I love about this, but usually Batman was the thing, like a Batman cereal was the thing to break up the tension. What I love is that this Batman comic book itself has something kiddie to break up the tension. The thing that's just for kids needs a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Because suddenly, after we've had just this like tension-filled, knuckle brawl against
Bigsby and Bots,
we need a few pages of Bigsby and Bots to just kind of go.
Yeah.
And we're still kids. Before we get back into another Batman story. It's great. It really is.
I really did enjoy it. I think I'm with you. Like go back and check out some of the stuff. It's a lot of it's interesting. It's fun. I know that sometimes when we do these things where we talk about comics, nobody like, comics, old comics. But no, I think this is one of the, and it's public domain now.
Yeah, it's free. We literally read it on what is on the
archive.org
on the National Archive website. It's right there. Batman 1940 issue 1, looking right the hell at it.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun, and I talk about this all the time. 1, to brag, and 2, just because it comes up. But as somebody who gets to drive past the real life Hall of Justice for work, every so often, there's just something about getting to go back and relive the history that got us to this point. You know, we just celebrated 150 episodes of this podcast, and so now here we are. Thank you again, everybody who joined us for that. And you know, and here we are now celebrating 85 years of like, it just the idea of creating something so iconic
Yeah.
that it stands the test of time to the level where where nerds in different states are making whole podcasts about the legacy it left. It really is something to be. So yeah, if you get the chance, take the time. Archive.org, it's up there. Read the first issue of Batman 1940, of Batman from 1940. And Matt, I'll throw this question to you that I threw to everybody else. Do you remember what the first, or like around what the first Batman comic book was you read, give or take ish, or what was going on in the universe at that point?
Yeah, I think the first Batman comic I can really remember reading, because again, like I think about, like I grew up on Super Friends.
Mhm.
I watched that a lot. And then the Batman live action was on rerun depending on where you were, UHF. I don't have to get into that.
Ah,
Um, so I remember there's two early books I remember of Batman. One is, it was like, I don't even know what it was, but it was basically Batman and Superman touring the Fortress of Solitude.
okay.
Just the two of them, and they were doing something. I remember that. And then the other one was, I think I've talked about this before. So they used to do these things where, do you know what a 45 is?
Oh yeah, I have a record
So,
player.
okay, I wasn't sure. So it would be a book. A book would
Because
come with
you're
a
old.
45. The book would come with a 45, and you
Yeah.
would play it, and then it was basically like it was the voice actors from the
Yeah.
show doing the book.
Yeah,
And you
I
would
think
flip
we've
the
talked
book.
about this before. I
Yeah.
had like CD and cassette versions of those for like
Yeah.
Star Wars movies and
Yes.
Batman books, and yeah.
So I had,
I had one for Almost Got Him.
yeah, I had it for, this was a Man Bat comic.
Oh, nice.
And what it was is, it was like, it wasn't a episode of the cartoon. It was definitely like they had made a book. Either they
Right.
drew the book specifically for this, or they created it from the comic. And it was just really cool. And I just remember, like, I think the little 45 ended up dying, but I had that book for ages.
When you hear the chime, turn the page.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had, dude, are you kidding me? Those were like the early days of ASMR. You talk,
Yeah.
are you, I mean, like, seriously, I had a CD of like, just like old, like the public domain, like, you know, Rumpelstiltskin and all that I would,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I get it.
But I think that's the earliest thing. But I think that the other one I remember, and it's probably a little bit later in life, is I had gotten this book, like it looked like a little small novel of Batman, and it was his origin. And it's like that episode of Batman Brave and the Bold, Chill of the Night,
Mhm.
was that book.
Oh, dope.
Like, I mean, almost verbatim, him finding Joe Chill, the flashback of his dad in the costume. It was, so when that was why when that episode came out, I was like, I remember this book. Holy crap, they're doing the book. So that's kind of some of my early. What about you?
See, and we've talked about, and again, we've talked about before on here, like for me, you know, getting into comics was weird for me because I was just, you know, because of how old I was and kind of where comics were at when I was coming into it. So like my first like comic books I started collecting were Nightwing, which was going on right after it was Nightwing Cataclysm, which was right after, like, I forget what the name of the
No
run
Man's
is. No Man's Land. It was right after No Man's Land.
Yeah.
So like there wasn't a, so like for me it was mostly the 90s JLA run. And so I didn't collect a lot of Batman comics at the time until I got a lot older, because for me I had the 90s show, I had Super Friends on rerun, I had the 60s show on rerun.
Yeah.
I had, so it was one of those, I didn't, you know, as far as I was concerned, comic books were done
Yeah.
They were just making, because I didn't understand how things worked, and my mom didn't know. She wasn't going to tell me. I thought they were just done, and so I didn't until I was a lot older. So it was just kind of ancillary stuff and stuff I would read. I would kind of gain, again, I was a kid when Nightfall happened. I was a kid when I was.
Please stop.
No, you sit here and you live in your age. Live in your age, sir.
Yes, Sonny, tell me more about the books you read when I was a full adult.
Bro, seriously.
And you were 5.
Yeah, I read the Nightwing Huntress short run like as it was coming out. So like, but yeah, like that's the era that was coming out. So like Batman specifically was just in kind of a weird holding pattern, transitional point then. So it was like with most of these questions when it comes back to, so Mike, what was your comic book origin? It's complicated.
Yeah. I was around when all the things were happening and it was easy to get into them.
Yeah, I was around when everything was changing and nobody knew what was going on, and I was also to give you an idea, I was living in Canton, Ohio, where I revisited over the weekend. We visited my grandma for her birthday and for Easter, and here's the thing about Canton, Ohio. Canton, Ohio froze in 1991 and stopped evolving in 1991. Because every time and the reason I bring that up is because it was like living in a time warp, and I love Canton. I really do. Canton is a wonderful slice of Americana if you are nostalgic as hell for the early 90s.
Yeah.
So that was where I grew up.
Yeah, there's a town called Hempstead that's about 45 minutes away from where we live, and we made the mistake of going there for one of our weekend aways, and that place must have been the coolest thing ever in the late 70s, and then suddenly stopped and no one changed anything. It was the weirdest thing, like, because we've been to a lot of small towns, and like they either feel like they're from the 40s or 50s, and then other things have, it's a mix. This is like, nah, it's straight 70s. It was weird.
And I'm sure I can hear people in Canton screaming through the monitor right now, or at least I would be able to if you guys had fast enough internet to be able to actually listen to this show. Oh, and I'm back, baby. I'm from there. I can say that. Oh, yeah. Anyway, that'd be fantastic. But again, that's it. But I'm sure people in Canton remember Batman issue #1. I'm sure for a lot of them, it was the last and only book they read. Yeah. So I can do this all day. Canton, Ohio. I love you so much. I love you, Grandma. But yeah, let us know down below what was some of the earliest Batman. But to answer your question, the earliest Batman story specifically I remember was No Man's Land, because I came in right at the tail end of that. But we would love to know what you guys, what your earliest Batman stories are. What memories have you read? The original issue to Batman, the Batman comic book line. I'll put a link down to it in the description so you guys can link to it. Let us know down below in the comments. On your way down there, hit the subscribe button. It's on the way. It's efficient. You might as well look, if you're going to tell us how bad you think our opinions are, the least you could do is subscribe. It's not that hard. Also, make sure you follow us on all the social media at WATB Pod. We are going to do our reaction to Flashpoint Paradox. We're going to record that here soon, and that will drop in the month of May. So stay tuned for that. I haven't seen it in a while. Matt hasn't seen it in probably even longer.
No, I actually rewatched it
about
6 months ago, but I think it was one of those, I played it while I was doing things.
Yeah, you haven't watched it. We're gonna have some fun with that. So make sure you guys stick around for that. If you're subscribed, you already know about that. And we will see you guys again next time. You can follow me on social media at Mr. Mike Sheck.
You can follow me across social media at The Hustle Man.
And that's gonna do it for this episode of We Are the Batman. We'll see you guys again next time. Same bad time, same bad podcast channel.